Hi guys, I'm going to take you through the poem Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. First, I'm going to read it once all the way through, and then I'm going to talk about the vocabulary and a couple of other things to notice. Here's the first read. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. So there are three words that I'm going to point out that you might find challenging. The first word is hue. It's in the second line, hue, and it's going to be listed as a vocabulary word. It means a shade of a color. The second word I want to point out is the word subsides. Subsides means to fall or lower. And the next word is grief. Grief means extreme sorrow or sadness, usually due to death or loss. And then I'm going to back up and point out the word Eden, which is the name of the Garden of Eden, which is a biblical reference to the paradise of the place on earth where Adam and Eve were placed, according to the biblical story in Genesis. Okay, so we learned that that is called an allusion, Allusion, when there is a reference to something else. So that's the first thing I want to point out. Now, the second thing is this poem is quite metaphorical. The whole thing is an extended metaphor where nature is representing something else. And that's what I want you to try to figure out. What is nature supposed to represent? What is the main idea that Frost is trying to get at by describing what happens to nature? So let's take a look at that, and then I want you to do a little bit more thinking. So in the first two lines, nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. This is really talking about how the first leaves of nature are this bright green gold color. I mean, I suppose that's literally, but it's also very temporary. It's the hardest shade of a color to hold on to. It changes quite rapidly. Just think about what you see when you see the new leaf on a plant. So literally that's what you should visualize, but what this represents is something else. The next two lines are emphasizing the same idea. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Again, the idea of temporary. Flowers only last a short time. Then leaf subsides to leaf. Right now it's fall, and we know that eventually the leaves fall. This is connecting then to Eden. So Eden sank to grief. So in paradise, once Eve ate the apple, then death was introduced. Paradise was gone, and the immortality that existed before was no more, and death is what happens. So all of this emphasizing the temporariness of nature and of life. And then the last two lines really drive home this idea of things being temporary. So dawn goes down today, nothing gold can stay. So then the question I ask you is, what is this gold of nature supposed to represent? What else in our lives cannot stay, do not last forever? All right.